What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour presented by Pickswise and powered by FanDuel. I'm the big man on campus. It's Saturday, May 1st, 2021. And I say that with a lot of excitement because I'll tell you what, we've talked about it all week on the show. Actually, had a pretty decent night last night in the NBA. But overall, I've noticed around the NBA gambling scene, a lot of people are struggling. It's a tough time right now to bet the NBA. A lot of players out, a lot of things going on. Let's see if the calendar's shifting to May, getting into the playoff stretch, maybe that turns the fortunes a little bit. Got a big Saturday card today. We're going to break it down here on the show. One of our favorite guests is back. He was with us during the college basketball respites when we were off for a couple of days. Skee Profit and I broke down the NBA cards. He's back, going to be back weekly on, we'll see what days. Skee's a busy man, as they say. Skee Profit, good to have you back. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me again, big man. And looking forward to get some winners today with you. Yeah,
really excited here. Got a big card, and I'll tell you what, there are some interesting matchups, but there are also some tough matchups when you look at on paper. When you look back to last night quickly, I just want to do a little recap here. Our guest yesterday, Ian Cameron, did a great job. I think both snuffed out that Suns game. Ended up being an easy winner. The Utah Jazz right now without Donovan Mitchell are really struggling really to score the basketball outside of that Kings game, which, as we know, the Kings are a complete disgrace on defense. But, with the Bucks, they bounced back and played a real great game. You look at the Philadelphia 76ers continue to dominate the Atlanta Hawks. And shout out to the Wizards who continue to play well. Blazers beat the Nets. Shout out to me. I sniffed that one out pretty easily. We got a good good couple games here today that we're going to get into. Thanks, as always, for listening to the show. If you're checking out the show live, if you're checking it out on the repeat, thanks for watching. Hopefully some of the info that we give you can help you make better decisions here on the NBA card. Skee, a lot of people have struggled in the NBA. Has it been an up and down a couple of weeks for you?
Yeah, well, I know I should have actually looked it up, but last week I was doing really well. I won like 13 of 16. This week it's been kind of back and forth. Like yesterday I went 2-2. Day before that I think 2-2. So up and down.
Yeah, it's really just that's how things go. Long seasons, you got to take the highs and the lows. And it'll come to you. So let's get into it. Let's break it down. If you have a comment or question, you want to make your presence known, feel free to hit the chat box that we have. There are a couple people that occasionally will say hello in there. If you want to join it, please do so to the right of the show. All right, Skee, let's get into it. Let's start it off. Detroit headed on the road to take on the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets laying 7, total 215. Now, there is talk that LaMelo Ball may play in this game. Here's the thing, though. LaMelo Ball hasn't played in a long time. If he does play, I don't think it's going to be a ton to make this game any. They may win because of LaMelo Ball, and that's obviously what they're going to hope for here. I don't know if it makes a ton of movement really in the number. This is a big price to give a team in Detroit that you and I have talked about play hard, actually winning against the number this year. If you've bet on them in every game, you're at like 54.5% with the Detroit Pistons. They have been pretty good against the number. This is a Charlotte team really just hanging on by a thread in that 8 spot. You got to give them some respect. Done a nice job, even losing 7 of 10. They're still holding on to that 8 spot. It's not been easy, though. The Indiana Pacers have a pretty easy game tonight. This is a big game for Charlotte. But again, Skee, as we've noticed, Jeremy Grant had a rest day the other night. He'll be back tonight. This is a Pistons team that's been tough. They've been hard to take advantage of, and they've hung around in games. You're giving them 7 points. We backed them a couple of times back in March when we played and did this show. You look here again, this is a Hornets team that, the last time these two teams played, 105-102 is kind of a nip and tuck affair. I continue to back the Pistons here, man. I got to be honest, at 7.
Well, I don't see Jeremy Grant. I don't know if he's going to go today. I think he's going to be
I think it was rest, though, the last game, no?
Yeah, it's rest, but, they're kind of tanking. They don't necessarily want to win all of these games. I see Grant still out, Plumlee still out, but I agree with you. I mean, we see a lot of these players come back to the first game. They're going to be out of rhythm. We saw it with Anthony Davis. LeBron James didn't look too great. We see it time after time. So even if he comes back, I don't think it's going to be a great first outing. With Detroit, I think it's pretty simple.
Real quick, again, according to reports, Grant is out. So I'm not going to make this this is no longer a best bet. If Grant was going to play, I thought it was just rest. Thought he was just resting that night. But you make good points. He has a knee problem. This is not a pick. This is off my board. Never mind.
Well, I'll tell you this about how you bet the Pistons this year. It's been pretty simple, or at least in certain situations. I look at them off a double-digit win. The following game, they're 0-10-3 against the spread. When they're off a double-digit loss, they're 17-7 against the spread this season. They're off a double-digit loss, and I don't know why you would be wanting to lay 7 or expecting Charlotte to win by double digits in this game. So the only way I would play it, I would agree to play Detroit.
Yeah, again, gun to my head, I'm going to take Detroit. But again, this is as far as talent's concerned, they're not that talented. Okay, when you lose guys like Grant and Plumlee, then you start to struggle. I mean, can you depend every night on Frank Jackson and Hamidou Diallo and Isaiah Stewart to give you 20? I don't know if that's sustainable. And even if they do, I mean, you look at the other night against the Dallas Mavericks. Stewart scores 20. Sadiq Bey had a big game. Doumbouya played well, had 2 double-digit scores, and they still only scored 105 and lost by 10. So, this is a team to me. Again, if I would have had Grant back tonight, I'd had a little bit more interest here. But again, let's say that this game's a 4 or 5 point game with 3 or 4 minutes to go. Someone like LaMelo Ball could make the difference. So I'm going to pass on this one at the end of the day. We're getting some info now coming in that Grant's not going to be in there. So I'm going to avoid this one. I lean Pistons, but I don't love it as much, especially with all these games on the card.
What do you think about Stewart on the rebounds tonight? Charlotte, not a great rebounding team. You think his rebounding prop may be worth a look?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, when they took Stewart, I was really happy with their draft list. I like Sadiq Bey a lot, so I'm at Villanova. And when you look at Stewart, I made the case that Isaiah Stewart reminded me a lot of Ben Wallace. I think from a shot blocking standpoint, from a rebounding standpoint, he is a mammoth in the middle. Really liked him at Washington. There were games, Skee, defensively where he was just incredible to watch. He's hit double-digit rebounds in both of the last 2 games. Had a great season rebounding in general at 7 a game. What is his prop? What did you say his prop was?
I'll pull it up in 1 second. I just kind of thought about it as we were talking about the game.
Yeah, and as you said, from a rebounding standpoint, this is not, a particularly good rebounding team in Charlotte, as you kind of alluded to. I don't hate that. They're kind of middle of the road from a rebounding standpoint. I would like to hear the number. If it's 7, probably 8, I'm guessing.
Well, he averages like 7 per game, so hoping to get like a 6.5 or something like that.
Yeah,
I'll let you know by the next game.
I could take a look here. Looks like Isaiah Stewart rebounds 12.5.
Wow,
that can't be right.
Charlotte's been bad, but I don't think I'll get involved in that. I'll probably leave it alone.
Hell. Yeah, over 12.5. Well, actually, I guess it's 11.5. I'm sorry. Over 12.5 is plus 104. So it's still high, though. Holy hell.
Okay, well, I'm looking at him lately. 10 rebounds, 11 rebounds, 13.
Skee, listen to this. To have 6 or more rebounds, Isaiah Stewart, minus 6,000.
Oh, yeah, I'm good, man.
What?
Yeah, at 12.5, I'm looking for like Rudy Gobert, Russell Westbrook, guys like that. I don't know.
I mean, no effect to record 12 or more rebounds. Isaiah Stewart minus 150.
I'm good.
What am I missing here? Like, he's a good rebounder, but when was the last time he had 12 rebounds?
Yeah, no value in that one, I don't think. He had 13 once.
Once this year, or
okay, once that I can remember.
Wait a second. Hold on. I might have to get involved with this. Okay, let me see here. I might go under 12.5. That's wild.
Actually, he's gotten more than 12 a couple times.
Okay, but it's not a norm.
That's true.
And they're not a terrible it's not like Charlotte's the worst rebounding team in the league. They're middle of the road. I'll tell you,
over the last 5 games, they're second worst.
I don't know. I just think it's
It's on my radar. I'll be thinking about it, but
I mean, Skee, let's put it this way. Okay, defensive rebounds are where he's going to do his damage, right? Probably.
Yep.
Okay, from an offensive rebounding standpoint, Charlotte's 10th in the NBA in offensive rebounds. They average 10 a game. You know what? I'm going under 12 and a half. I'm going under
money?
12. Huh?
Is it plus money?
Hold on. I don't know if it's plus money. It might actually be minus money. Under 12 and a half for Isaiah Stewart is minus 128.
Okay.
I'm putting that out there. That's worth maybe a smaller play. Is it a best bet? No, but I might play that. Okay, let's move on. That's nuts. We thought the number would be 7.
Yeah,
12 and a half. Holy hell. That's nuts. All right, let's move to the next game here. Atlanta let's do Golden State Warriors. Golden State at Houston. Golden State laying 8.5, total 232. Look, Skee, I didn't really put much time into this game. Houston is dreadful. I mean, they're the worst ATS team in the NBA. What are they, 21 and 22 and 41 against the number? We talked back in March. Golden State is still really bad on the road against the number. Now you're basically laying almost double digits. Stephen Curry, talk about props. Stephen Curry, 35 and a half. I guess you're just assuming he scores 40 here. But yeah, I passed in this game. I had no interest in betting it. Neither side I have interest in.
Well, I've been kind of looking at this, monitoring both of these guys for a scoring title. You have Steph Curry and Bradley Beal kind of duking it out. I'll look a different way, though. I'm not going to go over that 35 points, but his 3-point prop at 5.5, I think that's very doable. He averages like over 12 3-point attempts per game, and Houston is second worst defending the 3 over the last 10 games. So I think that's a great matchup, and that's the way that I would prefer to play this game.
I'll tell you, man, sometimes when I look at these games, you say, what do I envision this player doing? You look at in 2 games this year against Houston, 28 points a game. I have to go back and look at them. They could have been blowouts, so maybe he didn't play in them. But I had envisioned like 42 tonight for Stephen Curry. I think you make a great point about the 3-point percentage. I'll tell you, though, Skee, I had Bradley Beal over 29.5 last night, and I got screwed. It was a blowout. Beal didn't play in the fourth quarter. It was brutal.
I did too. He had an opportunity, though. He had 24 shots.
Yeah, and he only made 8, right? So I'm kind of irritated with props. Like I think I'm 1 and 2 this week on props, and they're kind of irritating me because I have had opportunities. But again, Curry over 35.5. I know it's high, but again, you make good points. He throws up a ton of threes, as we know. He's made a ton of them, and Houston just is so bad on both ends. They don't guard the 3. They're just bad. But again, Skee, here's the issue. If this turns into a blowout, we don't see Stephen Curry in the fourth quarter. He falls at 32 and we lose. That's your issue here. I wish you could bet props like, give me a first half prop.
Yeah, halftime.
Yeah, give me a first half over 18.5. Like I'm in. I'm getting 20.
Why not? Why not 3-pointers, big man? Like you don't think that's a great matchup? And if he's going to get over 30 whatever points, he's going to be doing it from the 3-point line.
Yeah. What do you got the number on that?
5.5.
Over 5.5 threes?
Right.
I mean, he's at games where he's made 10.
Exactly. Last month he had 10 like 4 or 5 times.
Right. Let's look at the last couple of games for Steph Curry. Okay.
He went over last game because I had it.
Yeah, and he had 17 attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think because that game he was gunning for 100 threes in April and still battling for the scoring title. Against
Dallas, he only had 9 attempts, but he made 5. Sacramento, 14 attempts, made 7. Yeah, I mean, I'm in. I'm going to agree on that. Over 5.5. So we're doing 2. So I'm going to do 2 props. And what I might do is parlay those 2, so I don't have to play the juice on the 130.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm not going crazy on it.
I kind of been focusing on props more early on in the morning because if the players get ruled out, you get your money back. And then after the injury reports are out, then I kind of approach that a little bit later.
So first 2 games, under 12.5 rebounds for Isaiah Stewart is nutty. I'm going to just take that on principle. And then I'll go a prop in another game here because I think you make a good point. If Stephen Curry doesn't play in a fourth quarter, let's say, because of a blowout, I think it's conceivable to believe he's going to throw up 15 attempts here in this game, probably. I mean, all I need is 6.
Yep.
I mean,
Like,
you basically I need to be better than 40%, which I think he can do here. So I like that play. Good pick. 2 props, first 2 games. Interesting. Let's move to the next game here. Atlanta taking on the Chicago Bulls. They are at home here down in Atlanta. Atlanta 5.5-point favorites. Total 217.5. Listen, we talked about it on yesterday's show, and I'm going to talk about it here. Trae Young is back. It didn't really matter. That was a series to forget against the Sixers. That was ugly. I mean, they had no shot in either game. Young played last night, but it's not necessarily just Young, because we know Young's going to score and we know he's effective, but you're missing Bogdanovich right now. You're missing Herter. You're missing DeAndre Hunter. And the problem that the Atlanta Hawks have that I've kind of talked about with Utah is some of these players are net negatives offensively. Solomon Hill, 36 minutes. He's not going to be a factor offensively. John Collins, 26 minutes. He was decently effective. Clint Capella, he's been decently effective, but he's not a guy I think you depend on long-term offensively. Tony Snell, 24 minutes, 6 points. Lou Williams, 22 minutes, 2 points. Chris Dunn, 14 minutes, no points. There's just too many zeros. Brandon Goodwin's playing a lot of minutes. He doesn't add anything offensively. So while you have Trae Young, I don't think it translates to offense. This is a Bulls team, Skee, also struggling to score consistently. Think about this, Skee. Since April 16th, that's basically half a month, the Chicago Bulls haven't scored more than 110 points.
That might be coinciding with Zach LaVine health protocols.
Right.
So I don't really trust Chicago either.
No, I don't. I don't. Again, I don't frankly trust either team offensively, to be real frank with you. I think the Hawks have too many players out of note, and the players that are replacing these guys are not constant scoring options.
Well, I feel like Trae Young was maybe still a little bit banged up.
And that's true. And that's why, for me, if I'm looking here, I lean Atlanta because I know Lou Williams in 22 minutes probably tonight is not going to score 2 points. He's probably going to score 12 or 14 points or 10 points even. And that could be enough to cover this number. I just don't think the Bulls are very good right now.
They're not. And I will not be putting my money behind them. The only way I'll play this one to be back in Atlanta, even though they haven't necessarily looked great lately. They're getting a little bit healthier, maybe get some guys back today. I look at a specific situation. You could tell me if it makes sense to you or not. But the Hawks, off of a road loss, they're at home, just playing any team that's not superior, a team with a win percentage less than 65%. 12-2 against the spread, if I look specifically at this season, 4-1. So I like the Hawks in this spot. I think that they come out and win by margin.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way. When you look at Atlanta, it's kind of been a rough go of it without Young. We mentioned this Philly series. Now you come home against a team that's really struggling to score. Listen, Atlanta's got to get back to where they were defensively, because against Philadelphia, they were bad. Okay, they got to start defending again. Collins, Capella, some of these guys. And look, if you're going to play bad offensively, you need to bring it defensively. And they weren't. So they got to start bringing it. I agree with you. Also, when you look at, this game, Young will have his legs, I think, again. And he was actually pretty good last night, even in a game where he didn't necessarily play well. So, yeah, I agree with you. Is it on my card? No, but I lean Hawks. Next one. Indiana at Oklahoma City. Indiana laying 7, total 233. You talk about a team, Skee. We talked about the Atlanta Hawks who are struggling with injuries. Is there a team with more injury issues right now than Indiana? I mean, they're without Sabonis. They're without Turner. Brogdon went down with an injury. Edmund Sumner went down with an injury. Jakar Sampson went down with an injury. Who the hell's going to play tonight for the Oklahoma or for the Indiana Pacers? This is something to really keep an eye on. Now, the line currently is 7. Okay. Now, I don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. But even let's say Brogdon was playing, Sumner was playing, and Sampson was playing. Would you still want to lay 7 with Indiana? This is one of the worst ATS teams in the NBA. Oklahoma City has a better defense. Pacers suck. I'm not laying 7 with them, even with those players. With the shot that they may not play tonight, you're not getting Sabonis back. You're not getting Turner back. I lean OKC here.
Well, as much as Indiana's banged up and stuff, I probably would still look their way. They haven't been playing well lately, but the one place that they've been successful, at least a little bit, is as a road favorite, 8-6 against the spread. OKC, they just have been terrible, man. I don't know. I don't want to put my money on these teams that are tanking. They're losing by like 20 points per game last month, and they only won one game in the entire month of April.
I think Skee makes a great point there, and I think it has to be talked about. A long time ago, when I first got into gambling, I was young kid. Someone that I respect a lot told me, never put money on bad teams consistently, if ever. You will not make money betting on these types of teams. And look, this is a bad matchup, okay? I'm not running to bet Oklahoma City ever, and I'm also not ever running to bet Indiana. I just look at the negatives, and you're right. The number kind of tells you where you got to go here. Is it on my card? No. I hear your point. Indiana's bad too, though.
They are, and they're especially bad defensively. If they can get Sabonis in the lineup and get Brogdon, or at least one of the two, where they can get some kind of offense, I would like an over, because without Turner, or when they did have Turner in the lineup, they allowed closer to like 112 points per game. And since he's been out, it's been like 125 plus per game that they're allowing. So defense goes out the window, and they're playing up tempo. You have OKC team who wants to run up and down the floor as well. I see a high up tempo game and plenty of opportunity for points. So I would be leaning towards over in this game.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you normally see when you see these like second units with teams. You see them kind of go up and down. Defense goes out of the wayside. So, yeah, I mean, going through these first 4 games, Skee, I really have no interest in any of the sides or totals. We have the 2 early props. We'll kind of wrap this up at the end. The next game, I don't have much interest in either. A back-to-back here, home and home. Grizzlies laying 11.5 against the Magic, 220.5. This game last night, I didn't watch a minute of it. I'm glad I didn't. 92-75. What was it, in college? Was this a college game? Skee, the Magic had 32 second-half points.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because I was at the casino watching all these games, and, I mean, I have some friends in town doing horse race and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I did catch that game. The Magic were winning in the beginning of the game, and it was kind of surprising. I think when I left and got home, I saw that the Grizzlies kind of blew it open. So it was pretty surprising.
When you look at both these teams, I think if you can take anything positive away from Orlando, they do play pretty good defense, and they're not terrible. And look, the Grizzlies have been good defensively as well. Neither of these teams shoot threes at all. I mean, they're both kind of slow. They don't play, I mean, especially the Magic, don't play well offensively. You're not going to see a ton of 3 barrages here. Does Ja Morant probably take over and they roll? Yeah, but let's just be frank. This game was in the 160s last night. You get a total here, 220.5. I'm going under. I don't think this game is 115, 110. I just don't.
I hear you. You know, usually when I look at these back-to-backs, I think that the second time around, it kind of just goes opposite. I don't have any numbers or anything to back it up. I'm just going off of what I think or how I feel. But in this game, you know, I don't trust Orlando. For one, they're just really bad. It's another bad team, just like OKC, that I don't want my money on. I usually like to back heavy favorites when their opponents on a back-to-back, 50 and 22 against the spread. But this one, they're both on a back-to-back. And I look at that situation, 8-1 against the spread. And they win by an average of 24 points per game. So I would look to maybe get on Memphis again. They always beat up on the weak teams this year, 12-4 versus those 45% win teams or less. They've been covering lately. 14 of the last 19. Orlando has only covered 1 of their last 8. So I would just stick with the team that's been hot in Memphis and expect them to win by double digits.
When you look at Memphis, obviously, you know, kind of middle of the road offensively, really have struggled lately. I mean, when you can only score 109 against Portland, I got a lot of issues. I mean, this group has failed to hit 100 in 2 of the last 3 games. We know Orlando is one of the worst offensive teams in the NBA. And look, while Memphis does push the pace a little bit, that's concerning here with Morant. Orlando kind of cancels it out because they're so slow. So I'm going to lean under. I hear your point, though. Generally, when something goes away, you kind of go the opposite. I just think 220 is a little high. I have Orlando kind of right around 100 to 105. I think this game is probably like 113, 103 or something. Like it's going to be close, but I think 220 has just a little too high. That's going to be one of my favorite plays today. Last night's game gets to the 160s, high 160s. Is it really going to be that? I mean, that's a 60-point difference, basically. To insinuate that's going to happen here again, I don't see we see a 60-point difference. Let's move on. Next one. Somebody's mentioning, Antonio's mentioning LaMelo's ruled in. Yeah, that's fine. We had the prop, and that line's actually just locked. So we're going to get a new line on that game here in a moment, which is interesting. All right, next one. Miami Heat at Cleveland. Miami laying 11.5. Total is 209. One of the lowest totals you'll see. I'll come out and say it. I don't have any interest in laying 11.5 with the Miami Heat. But Cleveland is bad. Another bad basketball team. In 4 of the last 5 games, Cleveland has failed to hit 105 points. Now they play one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Obviously, when you judge the total, you can see this is going to be a low-scoring game. Let's just be honest. Cleveland has nothing outside of Sexton and Garland. They just don't get much consistently from anyone else. Interesting game here, Skee, because I always look when these games come out at first halves and unders with these two. Last time these two teams played, first half, 67 to 54. It was very high scoring. But they only ended up getting, I think, the 220. It was kind of crazy. I think it was 115, 105. The scoring just really ratcheted low in the second half. So I anticipate this to be a good old-fashioned Eastern Conference tough game to watch. The team total for Cleveland is 98.5. Any opinion on this game?
This is probably my least favorite game today.
Agreed.
But when these teams usually play, I feel like it goes over every time. And I know Miami's been playing towards an over lately, but I just look towards the spread. Cleveland has just been really bad lately. Garland is on the injury report now. I usually like to fade these teams that have lost 5 or more games in a row. That would be Cleveland. If you've done so all year, it's about 57% that you're winning. And Miami, it's another team, another heavy favorite to back when their opponent's on a back-to-back. So that's something that I like, and that's the way that I'll lean. Don't love this game.
Yeah, this is the game that had at least amount of interest in. I will say this, from a tempo standpoint, possessions per game, bottom 5, both these teams in the NBA. Okay, so you're going to get a walk up the court. Skee mentioned Garland. What's his stat? Again, without Garland, how does this team? Where do the points come from in this team? I don't. I have a feeling tonight that the Cleveland Cavaliers struggle to hit 90. Like I think this is going to be an ugly, like 112-89 or something.
Well, they barely got 90 last night, I think.
Yeah. I think if you play anything here, you just go under 98.5. It's low, but Cleveland has shown. Can we make the case they're the worst offense in the NBA?
Sometimes, yeah. I guess I'm not going to argue too much.
I remember this. Remember when they played the Sixers a while ago? I watched the second half of that game against the Sixers. Cleveland literally on every possession. It wasn't even a question of whether they would score. Would they even have good possessions? It was really bad. They couldn't get any shots up. It was hard to watch. And Miami is right there defensively with any team in the NBA. So, yeah, I have some real question marks on them scoring in this game. Next one, Pelicans and the Timberwolves. This should be a fun game. We've talked about a couple unders here, but this has all the makings of a high-scoring game. New Orleans at Minnesota. New Orleans laying 4. Total is 238. Skee, how about Minnesota? They're playing some pretty good basketball lately. They're starting to get some consistent scoring. They're still bad, but they have won 6 of 10. They're doing some nice things offensively. Put up a ton of points. One of my plays on Thursday night was the over against Golden State that found a way to get over 234, but a little bit higher of a price here. I'd expect a better offensive night from New Orleans over Golden State. When you look at Minnesota, Towns, Edwards, Rubio, D'Angelo Russell, McDaniels. They're getting a lot of good scoring from all those guys. Not necessarily always Rubio, but we know Rubio is always involved in kind of the, assists and that sort of thing. Pelicans, one of the better offensive teams in the NBA, averaging 115 a game. Tempo's there. Two bad defenses here. Got to lean over here, right? Is 238 too high?
Usually I would agree. But lately, I have to give some pushback. You look at New Orleans, for one, they're a much better over team at home than on the road. They've went under 4 of their last 5. And both of these teams, like usually I think the same for Minnesota. I think that they play fast and don't play defense. But you look at them winning games lately. Why are they winning games? Because they're finally playing some defense. Same can be said for the Pelicans, why they've been covering numbers lately. Both top 10 defensive rated teams over the last 5 games. So I will expect some defense, and I wouldn't be rushing to bet over the total in this one.
Here's where, and look, Skee, I mean, there might not be anyone I respect more, and I love talking games with you. I'm going to throw a little pushback your way, though. In the last 5 games, let's look at who they played, okay? They played the Jazz twice without Mitchell. We know without Mitchell they're not good offensively. The Rockets, okay? The Warriors, you give up 114. I hear you, and I think for them to win games, they've got to be better because they are so putrid defensively. But again, 238 is a high total. If this is, 120 to 135, you lose, and which is crazy. That's crazy. You should win those games if you have an over. But I think you're kind of onto something. I have a weird feeling like everyone's going to think the same thing. Like if you look at this card, what's the game that screams high scoring? This one, right? And when you look at last night, that the Brooklyn game with Portland wasn't everyone had that total pegged. It's going to go way over 240. It's going to go into the 260s probably. 128, 109. Blowouts hurt. They hurt overs.
Yep.
So
in this one though, I probably look more towards the side. I like what I've been seeing from the Timberwolves team. I mean, not that I don't like a little bit how New Orleans been playing, but still catching points and on the win streak that they're on.
Yeah,
I would look for them to continue. Yeah,
Pelicans can be gutless. And I think as a gambler, you've got to look at these games from that total perspective and say, you know what? I kind of smell a rat, if you will, as Skee kind of alluded to. Maybe these teams are a little bit better defensively lately. That could be the difference in this game, right? And look, I didn't watch the game the other night against the Warriors. I had the over. I just kind of bet it, and that was that. But, D'Angelo Russell, 24 minutes. What was up with that? Did he get injured or something? Why did he only play 24 minutes?
I was watching that game, but I was
Rubio was just playing well, I guess.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know in the beginning of the game, they were like really aggressively trying to double Steph, and that's why he wasn't getting good shots. But, I kind of don't remember the entire game. Next thing I knew, it was like the end of the game, and it got close, and then Timberwolves pulled away. I was watching a lot of games at once.
Yeah, I guess from what I'm seeing, it was probably just bad game. I mean, he only shot 27%, just didn't shoot real well. So that happens. But I'm going to kind of avoid betting this one because I think it's kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing, if you will. Dallas heading on to take on the hot Washington Wizards. Dallas laying 5.5 or 5, depending where you look. Total is 232 at FanDuel. Currently, Dallas a 5-point favorite. You do got to lay 114 to get the 5. As I said, total 232. Wizards have covered 9 of 11. They've won 10 of 11 overall. This team's on fire. They're giving them 5.5 points. Listen, I'm just going to be honest, Skee. These spots, I ended up kind of always kind of smelling the rat, if you will, and saying, you know what? I think Dallas but Dallas is not a team I'm really looking to think can do something like that. Like, could the Clippers? Yeah. Could the Suns? Yeah. Could the, Jazz run healthy? Yeah. But are the Mavs really 5.5 points better ever than the Wizards? Beal didn't play well, but it was a blowout last night. I've got to figure a better shooting night from him is in store. I tend to avoid these spots just because I think the Wizards are meant to lose sooner or later. And I think sharp money is on Dallas, but I don't really want to fade the Wizards right now.
Yeah, I would agree. Look at Dallas. They haven't been profitable as a home favorite. They've been playing good lately, covering numbers. But Washington has too. They've won 10 of their last 11 games. And when they play competition, they always show up throughout the year. I have them as 12-7 against the spread versus 55% when teams are better. And they're still at the bottom of I think they're 10th in the standings. So they still got to keep their foot on the pedal. I think that they'll be up for this game. They didn't have to put too much effort in the second half in that blowout. So I like the Wizards in this one. And if I had to play anything else, I would look for, I know he had a bad game last time, but still battling Steph Curry for the scoring title. I would look for Bill points or Russell Westbrook. Probably rebounds is the way that I've been going. Triple doubles, pretty juiced now. So those are the ways that I would look.
Yeah, Beal at this point, he needs 30, right? And you look at last night, didn't play in the fourth quarter, shot 8 for 24, still scored 19 points. He is the engineer of this offense, okay? It's that simple. Okay, this is a Dallas team that's pretty good defensively. What's Richardson's status? Is he going to play tonight? You definitely want to keep an eye on that. If we can get some info on Josh Richardson, that would be helpful. As we know, he's probably –
I think he's in.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought as well. I think that was just some rest stuff the other night. But again, Beal is the catalyst for this team. So I think if you play this game, it's Wizards, it's Beal. And I think you just continue to play those. They're kind of auto bets. It's like Steph Curry in a way. Next one. This is a play I'm making. I'm taking the Clippers. Clippers are laying 5 points here to the Denver Nuggets. This is one of those games I kind of fish out. Denver, I think a lot of people are going to look at and say, wow, Denver's getting 5 points here. Clippers may or may not have Leonard. Look, Leonard's going to play in this game, okay? We talked about it the other night with Kevin Durant not playing last night. You kind of could see that he wasn't going to play. I think you get Kawhi in some form or fashion in this game, if it's just even a little. But even without him, this is a Clipper team that's lost 2 in a row. I think Murray, this really is where you hurt not having him. It's just one of those games in the NBA that I look at. You know how I bet in the NBA, Skee. I'm always kind of looking at what doesn't make sense. I think most gamblers are going to look and say, wow, Denver's getting 5. I'm just going to take that Saturday night, like that matters. Clippers win this game. I think they win by double digits.
Well, I think I disagree here. And what I'll say is, yes, the Clippers have been solid as a home favorite. No, I'm not sure that Kawhi is going to play in this game. And they haven't been covering numbers lately. You look at the last couple games, like you said, they lost the last 2. And Paul George had really subpar games, 9 points, 25 points. I think if you like the Clippers in this one, without certainty that Kawhi is going to play, you just bet Paul George points over. I mean, before those 2 games, I'm looking at him. He only went under 30 points. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he went under 30 points only 1 game out of the last 8 before that. So if you like the Clippers, I feel you play his points over for Paul George. Myself, I would probably look a little bit more towards Denver. They've been playing good lately. They're 8-1 without Murray straight up. They're 5-2 against the spread their last 7 games versus winning teams. I think I just have to roll with what Denver's been doing lately. I like their defense a lot better than what I've seen from the Clippers as of late. I think their offense can keep up. And I think Jokic has a great day. So I like Denver plus the points. And if I had to play a prop, it would be Paul George points over.
Yeah, you and I are totally on opposite sides. When you look at Lou, he mentioned that Kawhi's been practicing. That'll dictate whether he plays tonight. My thought is he will. This is a Clipper team. Again, we don't know. But this is a Clipper team that's still vying, Skee. I mean, they're only 2.5 games back. So, this is a Clipper team that's still vying for some things. And not that Denver isn't either. I mean, this is a big game. I mean, both teams playing well. Clippers have won 7 of 10. Nuggets have won 8 of 10. So, both teams are playing at a high level. Should be a great game. But, I remember, and I've kind of tried to find these spots where they're big-time games. You have a team that's getting points that probably shouldn't be getting that many points. And I just think it shows through that the Clippers are better than the Nuggets. That's all. But it does seem like Denver doesn't lose very often. I guess that's just my feeling. But I think we get Kawhi. Let's say he plays 20 minutes. I think he's the difference in the game.
What do you think about well, for one, I'm going to give you a little pushback because we already talked about players in their first game back not necessarily performing so great. Yeah. But you have the Clippers in the third spot. Yeah, I hear you. You have the Clippers in the third spot, Denver in the 4th spot. only a half a game behind the Clippers. The Lakers in that fifth spot, season winding down. I mean, the Lakers aren't locked in the fifth, but I do think that that's where they're going to end up because they can't catch the fourth, and I don't think they drop anymore. So I feel like it's a big game if you want to try to avoid the Lakers. You think that's what anybody's thinking about here?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the Lakers just kind of hang in there. Again, no one cares about the regular season anymore in the NBA. But yeah, I think you always want to avoid LeBron James and places like that. Does it creep in? I don't know. I think every game, at least for these two teams, they're trying to win. I mean, you want to have the best opportunity possible. 2.5 games back, three games, it's not insurmountable. Every game's important. It's not like there's no shot. I would love if I can just get Kawhi for 20 minutes. I think he can make it. Give me 12 and 6 or something. I don't know.
What if you don't get Kawhi? Do you still like the Clippers?
Why is this line 5?
Maybe they think he's going to play.
Right. That's my thing. This number just doesn't make sense. And in the NBA, I will gladly be on that side every day of the week. I'll side with the books. I get no issue with that. Final game. Utah Jazz hosting the Toronto Raptors. Jazz laying 6.5. Total 216.5. Listen, Jazz suck without Donovan Mitchell. Sorry. It's just going to be honest here. You have another issue here, Skee, and I'm going to talk about it like I talked about it with the Atlanta Hawks. Without Donovan Mitchell, and look, Bogdan Bogdanovic is a big help. Having him there helps. But the problem you have with a lot of the players that the Jazz have, Gobert, Royce O'Neal, a lot of these guys are net negatives offensively. I mean, they just don't give you that much. And you don't have enough guys. You don't have enough production to score consistently. I don't love Toronto either, and ultimately I'm not playing this game. But look, without Mitchell, I'm just not interested in the Jazz. When he comes back, playoffs, I'll be looking towards the Jazz. I would be looking to fade the Jazz, though. Wouldn't surprise me if they lose in the first round. I just think they are what they are. But, yeah, I have no interest in this game. It's not a play I'm making.
Yeah, as my friends say too, but it's how I feel. But this stuff for the regular season with the Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns, it's cute and all, but when the playoffs come, we'll see what happens. I don't think that those guys are going to make any noise, in my opinion. In this game, I agree. I don't want the Utah Jazz without both of their point guards. I think they're still missing Conley, no Mitchell. Their offense is just not good. And you've seen their games go under 6 of the last 9. Toronto has been under 4 of the last 6. I would look towards less points on the Jazz games going forward until they get a point guard back. And in general, the Raptors, I mean, they pretty much have owned the Jazz as far as covering the number. 5-0 against the spread, their last 5 versus them. And this season, within this spread range, they're undefeated, plus 5.5 to plus 8.5, 6-0-1 against the spread. I don't trust the Jazz without Mitchell and Conley. I would be on the Raptors or I would be on the under.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. If I had to take it, I would take the Raptors. But, I mean, the Raptors are pretty bare outside of that starting 5 and, that 6 guy even as well. So, yeah, not a play I'm making. Let's hit some best bets here. I'm going to go with the Clippers. I'm going to go with the Magic Grizzlies under 220.5. And I'm going to agree with the Curry over 5.5 threes. The Stewart one, the only reason I'm not making it a best bet is because it's like 130. It's too high. So I'm going to go one prop with the Curry over 5.5 threes, and then Clippers -5, and then that under 220.5 Grizzlies Magic. What do you like, Skee?
As I'm talking, if you could just help me out, has that Detroit line moved since LaMelo information? But as my best bet, the only one that I
it's
made,
up to 7.5, so it's moved a little bit.
Okay. I probably will roll with the Pistons. I just think that Charlotte shouldn't be favored by 7.5 really versus anybody. And it's been pretty clear that when Pistons lose big, they bounce back the next game. And that's the way that I'll roll. 17-7 after a double-digit loss puts me on the Pistons today. For my actual best bet of the day, it's going to roll with that Steph Curry prop over the 5.5 3-pointers. Shoots over 12 a game and just battling with Bradley Beal. I love it. And going up against one of the worst 3-point defenses in Houston. So I like that quite a bit. Yeah. If I had to pick one more, I probably would go with that I'll probably go with the Bradley Beal prop, just because after that bad game, I think that he'll bounce back.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I thought he, didn't play much, didn't shoot well last night, still scored 19. So yeah, it's an auto bet probably right now. So yeah, I don't hate that. I love the Curry prop. That's a good call by you bringing it up. Before we go, Skee, I want to do one more thing. The NFL draft's going on right now. I'm going to throw out a future here. I think you got to bet futures, whenever you can. The Dallas Cowboys are 30-1 to win the Super Bowl. That's a play I just bet. I literally just bet it. Listen, we have to realize the Dallas Cowboys have, when healthy, possibly the second, third best offense in the NFL. They still have some picks to make here. I think they probably shore up the offensive line a little bit as well, but they brought in the best defensive player in this draft in Parsons. They brought in two really good corners that I think helped their defense a lot. Listen, 30-1 is too high on the Dallas Cowboys. I think you can make the case. And again, simply just make the case. They're right up there with Tampa and the other teams in the NFC. When Dak Prescott's healthy, they're very good. So laugh all you want. I don't care. The Dallas Cowboys are a very good football team, and when healthy, they have one of the best offenses in the NFL. I think they've made major strides defensively. Keep in mind, just added Jabril Cox in the 4th round. I thought he was a second-round type of player. Linebackers are fierce. The secondary is going to be much better. They're going to get to the quarterback. Give me Dallas.
Are you feeling all right, big man? Dallas to win the Super Bowl, all this Dallas hype, you feeling all right, man?
I don't bet with my heart, man. You don't make money that way. When you're betting futures, no one likes your futures because they are mad because you don't like their team. I bet from my mind, man. That's why I hit futures. 30-1 is a good price.
I might have to save this clip for you in the future.
Fair enough.
Just talking so nicely about the Cowboys.
It sucks. I hate the Cowboys. But I think they've done very well in this draft. And I think offensively they're very good. So I think they'll be, if you can give me 3 teams in the NFC that's better than the Dallas Cowboys, I'd like to hear it when healthy. Seriously. So, what if San Francisco gets Rodgers? Well, they're not going to get what?
Everybody's in NFL mode because of the draft, but I approach it in like a month or two, etc. Closer to football.
Yeah, fair enough. Somebody says, what if San Francisco gets Rodgers? They're not going to get Rodgers. What?
Yeah, where do you think he goes? Is he going to Denver?
I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think he's staying in Green Bay.
Well, that would be I don't know how that would work out.
I mean, yeah, it sucks because they never want to help him out. So,
speaking of that, you really quick, what do you think about the Chargers? We got somebody to protect Herbert a little bit. Do you like the other guy too?
I talked about this yesterday. I really like what they did in the draft so far. I mean, I think Rashawn Slater is really a good player. I think he's a terrific left tackle. I think you make the case. He's right up there with Sewell. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Josh Palmer, very good receiver, kind of a second guy to throw to, third guy to throw to. They got a tight end as well. And they got, to me, probably my third favorite corner of the draft, Asante Samuel Jr. Great broadlines. I mean, as for sure the Eagles weren't going to draft him, surprisingly. So the fact that he went to the Chargers makes a lot of sense. I thought they've had one of the best drafts of the season. So, yeah,
I love it.
I like Slater a lot. Helpful. They've done it the right way. Good quarterback, good offensive line, good secondary, adding players for need. So, yeah.
I feel like Chargers are good at drafting cornerbacks for whatever reason.
Yeah. Somebody says big man's excited betting draft future. Well, yeah, I mean, I bet futures doesn't really matter when it is. But, yeah, drafts help, sure.
Any NBA futures?
I have the Suns.
Okay. So you didn't like my little spiel or my little rant I did earlier then.
What about Phoenix and Utah, teams like that?
Yeah.
I think you're just salty that the Suns aren't going away. I mean,
okay.
And look, this sets up really well for the Suns. You know why? Because they're going to get, the 8 seed, whoever that is, and I guess it would who's it going to be? It would be the Grizzlies or the Spurs, whoever. And teams like the Lakers are going to cannibalize each other with the Clippers and the Nuggets. Go ahead. Suns just going to hang out. So I'm good with it. And by that point, I'll hedge. So
I hear you.
I'm good with it.
We'll see.
What else do I have? I also have I have the Dallas Mavericks to win the West.
Oh yeah, I'm out on that one. I'm not even going to entertain it.
But
yeah,
that wasn't. But I was shooting for them making a move and getting like a DeRozan type. They didn't do that.
Yeah, man. Imagine if they had Randall instead of Porzingis. That would be awesome.
Mark Cuban's too worried about Dogecoin and the coronavirus to go get players. So yeah, guys. Again, all due respect to anyone in the chat, I'm not taking your advice on when to bet futures and why you don't bet futures. I don't care. I'm betting futures because I feel there's value in betting futures. One thing about sports betting, we can't let people influence what we're doing. You got to trust what you do.
Right.
I'm happy that I'm getting 30-1 on the Cowboys. I think that's a good price. I would put it around 20-1. To me, that's value.
Are you in on the Sixers yet?
I'm not going to lie. I'll just come out and say it, and I can show you. I do have them at 14-1 to win.
Mm-hmm. There you go, big man.
I'm not going to lie. And I bet that because I guess for me, a lot of the issues I thought they had were Brett Brown, right? And I think we're starting to see that the East is not as good as I think we thought. Like, I thought Boston would be way better. I thought Miami would be way better. You know, Brooklyn, I still think it's going to be tough to beat Brooklyn, but I'll sweat it out, you know? I'm
not big on Brooklyn, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to explain it really quick. Look at the Clippers last year. They didn't play any games together. What was the main issue come playoff time? It was chemistry, just because you haven't had anybody together all year. This Nets team, how many games have Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie all played? They're not going to make it all the way. They're not about to win.
And by the way, Kyrie Irving, is there anyone less dependable than him? He just said, I don't want to play. I'm not going to play. They have no leverage against him.
Yeah, he'll use all his PTO and still call out.
Yeah, I'll take exactly. No call, no shows. Kevin Durant, I mean, he's always injured.
Right.
You know,
coming off that big injury, you never know.
And weirdly enough, a guy who's not really ever injured, James Harden, has had some bad luck this year. Plus, they're led by a guy that I don't think really commands much. Defensively, I don't know if they're that good. I'm starting to fade a little bit. And look, I haven't liked what the Sixers have done over the years, but this is their best opportunity at this point. Joel Embiid's playing like a Hall of Famer. You know, you're getting a lot of really good production. I'm happy with what they're doing, I have to say. I'm wearing the last time they went to the finals.
There you go.
Got the AI.
We did a preview show, and you know that's my pick right there. I like you guys.
You did say that. All right, let's wrap it up. One comment here. Papa Akrasi saying, you can't cash out futures, right? Wrong. There's something called Prop Swap. It's one of the best companies in the business. I know the owner. He's a great guy, Luke. They basically allow you to sell and move future tickets. So, yes, I've used them. I like them. It's a great resource. Check it out, Prop Swap. They need to market more because they have one of the best companies in this business, in my opinion. Shout out to Luke, based in Atlantic City. Shout out to Atlantic City. All right, let's wrap it up. The Eagles are on the clock. They're about to make a pick, so I'm going to go nuts. Should we stay on?
Go for it.
All right, let's stay on. The pick is in. Let's see who it is. We need a linebacker. We need a corner. We need a corner. Okay.
That means you're drafting a wide receiver.
Israel Moka would make a lot of sense here, but let's see if they do it. No, I wouldn't mind a receiver. I wouldn't be mad at that. But look, they need a corner. Okay, they need to stop screwing around. There's not many corners really that I think can start on this team down the road in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. They have the most picks at the draft today. 8 picks today. 8. Skee, give out your best bets one more time. Somebody missed it.
All right, yeah, my absolute favorite is going to be Steph Curry over 5.5 3-pointers. That's the one that I've definitely made so far. Outside of that, I would lean towards Bradley Beal over his point total. He averages 31 points per game, so anything under that is kind of what I'm looking towards. And the last one, it was Detroit. I don't think Charlotte should be laying that many points. Even LaMelo coming back, first game back, I don't trust it.
I took the Clippers -5. I took under 220.5 Magic Grizzlies, and I agreed with Skee Curry over 5.5 threes. That's a good one. Pick is in. What's taking so long, Eagle? Let's go. Come on.
And do you guys still have that one corner? I think his name was like Jalen something.
Jalen Mills. No, they traded him, or he's gone. He left. They didn't trade him. He left. He went to the Patriots. Okay. So I'm sure he'll be an All-Pro next year. That's what happens with this team. I'm telling you, I'm going to be mad when they make this pick because it's going to be some dumb pick. They'll take a quarterback. Watch. I can telegraph it.
I still remember you had one video on Twitter, one of these drafts. I think it was when I don't know who they drafted. Yeah, there you go.
It went viral. It had like 6 million views on all the platforms. Yes, I did interviews about that. I still get – you know what? You don't want to hear a crazy story, Skee, about that? I was out working out one day. I see the maintenance guy. He's been the maintenance guy forever. He stops me. He goes, did I see you doing a draft reaction? You were like screaming. I'm like, yeah, that was me. He goes, dude, I watched that like 6 times. I thought it was so funny. He's like, I think I know that guy. Then he noticed, he's like, yeah, I think that looked like the Apartments here. He's like, I know them well. What is going on? Make the pick, Eagles. Holy shit.
You've also lost a lot of weight since then.
I have 110 pounds. Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Erica Taylor, what NBA props do you like? We're both on over 5.5 threes for Steph Curry. Bradley Beal over 29.5 makes a lot of sense. I also like Isaiah Stewart under 12.5 rebounds for the Pistons. That's too high. Eagles pick is in. Who is the pick here? Make the pick, ESPN.
They're seeing how they can screw it
Zach
up.
McPherson, a cornerback at a Texas Tech. Cool, a cornerback, but not the one I would pick. I don't know. Listen, I got to tell you, I don't know who scouts this team, but they need to be fired. But a Big 12 corner, what more could you ask for? I mean, yikes. A Big 12 corner, one of the worst defensive freaking conferences in the country. Texas Tech gives up 70 points a game, but let's take a corner from Texas Tech. My God, man.
Hey, really quick before I know we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
So after talking about that draft reaction video, I mean, that's your quarterback now, right? What do you think of him going forward?
I'm okay with it. I mean, listen, I guess they'll continue to lead on that they don't think this team can compete in 2021, which I don't think is true. I think if Hurts plays well, and I thought if they had a good draft, I don't think they're that far off, frankly. I think defensively they needed to make some decisions here. They might do something in free agency to get another corner. I like Hurts, but again, he's either going to work or not. He can't really find out because Devontae Smith, he has a rapport with. They went out and got the guy he wanted. They have a healthy offensive line now. You have Miles Sanders. You have a new coach and a new system. It's his team now. So if he works, he'll be the quarterback of the future. If he does not work, they will not win, and they will take a quarterback next year. And they're still going to take a quarterback in this draft. So the heir apparent could be there. We don't know, but I'm happy with Hurts. I liked Carson a lot. I thought he got a raw deal here, but he's gone now. And again, I do believe Carson Wentz will go and win a Super Bowl at some point. I think he's a really good quarterback. He's a good kid, and I think that's a great place to be. But yeah, it's Hurts' team, and I like what I saw out of Hurts, and I think he's their guy. So we'll see. I think a lot of it had to do with the scheme they were in. Doug Peterson, I thought, needed to go. I thought he had kind of run stale here. And it's been pretty clear because Doug Peterson's not working anywhere. So I think people are just kind of sick of his antics around here. So we'll see. We'll see what it is.
All right. I heard one person say, I don't remember who it was, but they said a good handicapper, it's okay for them to flip-flop. You didn't like Jalen Hurts at first, but you think it's a little bit better now?
Well, I think
you're just not stubborn. And that's
good.
I
think, and that's a great point. You have to be willing, I think, to – and it's not that I don't like Jalen Hurts as a player. That's what people misinform. When I make a rant, and I do a rant, like I did a rant the other night on Landon Dickerson and some of the picks they made last night. It's not that I don't like the player. It's that I don't think they have needs for those players. Okay, this team does not need an offensive lineman as depth in the second round. They need to address major needs. And that's what you do in the second round. And they've, the last 2 years, picked players they didn't necessarily need. Now, for Hurts, it ended up working out because they were salty on Carson Wentz and didn't want him long-term. So, indeed, they had a method to their modus operandi. But I think they should have went corner in the second round, not a backup center. I think you can get a center in the fourth round, And you take a center that has had 4 knee injuries in the last 4 seasons. That's brutal. So that's my problem. It's not the player itself, because I'm sure Landon Dickerson, I know he is a good player. It's just when they took him and the player they took. That's all.
All fair points.
Do I know everything about every team? No. but I know a lot about these players. I would have went a different way at center if I'm going to take a center. He might be the next Orlando Pace or the next, Tony Baselli on the offensive. I don't know. Maybe he'll be the next Jason Kelsey. That would be perfect, but we'll see. Thanks, Skee, as always. Great show. This might be the best show we've done. Thank you, Skee. Look forward to the card tonight. We're back tomorrow, Sunday. We'll be here, 12 o'clock Eastern. Spread Astaire will join us, the great Spread Astaire. We'll talk Sunday, 12 Eastern, breaking down the NBA card. Sunday's always an interesting day. I have some angles that I like. Skee, thanks as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for having me, big man.
We'll see you guys next week. Or, sorry, not next week. Tomorrow here on the Who's Betting Hour, presented by PicksWise, powered by FanDuel. Go check out FanDuel for all your betting needs if you're in a qualified state. Thanks. Have a great day. See you.